Chang has been cheating on his wealthy wife, Li Yi, with his ex-girlfriend Jia, even though Jia is already married to Yong, a man who truly loves her. Chang also causes an accident that makes Li Yi temporarily blind. When she slowly regains her sight, she catches him in bed with another woman, Shinran, but she pretends to still be blind. Soon after, Chang murders Jia, and her husband Yong decides to take revenge. Chang then takes over his blind wife's company and makes himself the CEO. As promised, he promotes Shinran to chief of finance. Meanwhile, Li Yi wakes up in her room and realizes the truth. Her cheating husband has stolen all her company shares while she was blind, and now he will come for her next. She fears for her safety and decides to escape, but the mansion is guarded heavily by Chang's men. First, Li Yi removes the belt tied to her leg, then quietly tries to slip away. But she is caught by her evil mother-in-law, who is shocked to discover that Li Yi can actually see. Li Yi finally snaps. She fights back, slams her mother-in-law's head against the wall several times, and runs downstairs. The bodyguard notices and chases her with other men, but Li Yi manages to grab a car and escape. Meanwhile, Chang continues indulging in his billionaire lifestyle with Shinran by his side, acting as though the world exists purely for his pleasure. When his phone rings, he ignores it at first, far too absorbed in pampering his mistress. But when the call comes again, his bodyguard steps in and informs him that Li Yi has escaped. The moment he hears this, Chang's expression shifts. He immediately crafts a new scheme in his mind, deciding to twist the situation in his favor. In a calm, manipulative tone, he orders Shinran to call the police and report that Li Yi fled after brutally murdering her best friend, Pu. While Shinran hesitates, shocked, Chang is already tracking the car's GPS. On the other side of the city, Li Yi races down an empty stretch of road, pushing her limits as she struggles to stay ahead of Chang's men. Suddenly, she notices a woman on the roadside, frantically waving for help. Despite being hunted, Li Yi cannot ignore someone in danger. She stops, only to realize a second too late that it's a trap. At the police station, officers grow increasingly confused. Their investigation reveals that Li Yi had been pretending to be blind for months and has now vanished after allegedly killing her closest friend. Just as frustration builds, a junior officer rushes in with urgent news. Jia has gone missing from the hospital, and Yong lied about her condition. Alarms rise instantly. The officers hurry to Yong's clinic, only to find it eerily silent. Yong has disappeared too, and none of his phones are reachable. They suspect he fled in panic and order a full-scale search of the clinic. In one locked room, they uncover a chilling sight, the very place where Yong had been keeping Jia's lifeless body. The container meant to hold her is empty now, but the senior officer spots something small yet vital. A single strand of hair rests inside, long and delicate, possibly belonging to Jia. The discovery deepens the mystery and makes the case even more tangled. Meanwhile, Li Yi regains consciousness in a dark, filthy room, trapped inside a cramped metal cage barely large enough for her to sit upright. The bald bodyguard approaches with a cruel grin, treating her like an animal. He mocks her, kicks at the cage, and then strikes her with an iron rod, savoring every moment of her pain. He demands that she bow her head and beg for mercy. Li Yi, trembling but unbroken, refuses to surrender her pride. The bodyguard laughs and shows her a news report on his phone, a report painting her as a murderer on the run. Her picture flashes across the screen. The police are actively hunting her. Everything has been twisted against her. Before the bodyguard can escalate his violence, Chang arrives. He plays the innocent victim flawlessly, pretending to be a heartbroken husband and the perfect son-in-law. He claims he gave Li Yi everything, treated her like a queen, and only ever wanted a peaceful marriage. Li Yi stares at him for a moment before bursting into mocking laughter. She spits on his shoe and reminds him of his countless affairs, his open infidelity, and the day he murdered her father without hesitation. Her words cut straight through his mask. Enraged, Chang reveals his true intention. He plans to sell her into an underground prostitution ring where she will never be seen again. Li Yi lifts her head, glares steady, and warns him calmly to kill her now, because if she escapes even once, she will return for him, and he will regret ever letting her live. Unable to tolerate her defiance, Chang snatches a burning piece of wood from a nearby fire pit, intending to blind her permanently. The bodyguard holds her down as Chang moves closer, his rage boiling over. The next morning, Chang transforms himself once again into a grieving husband. He records a dramatic, tear-filled video, sobbing on camera and claiming that he never imagined his beloved, gentle wife could murder her best friend. He begs the public to pray for him. At the police station, the senior officer watches the video and instantly recognizes the theatric. His eyes narrow. A junior female officer comments that Chang looks sincere and seems like a kind, supportive husband. But the senior officer scoffs and reveals newly acquired evidence, a CCTV still from a hotel security camera clearly showing Chang touching Yong's wife, Jia, in a very intimate manner. The image destroys any illusion of Chang being innocent and exposes the first crack in his carefully built facade. Later that day, the police receive word that Yong has returned home. The senior officer and the female officer go to check, and to their shock, Jia, who is supposed to be dead, opens the door and calmly invites them inside. When Yong appears, he behaves completely naturally, as if nothing strange has happened at all. He even looks genuinely confused when the police mention his wife's death, acting shocked that they still believe such a thing. Both officers are stunned when Jia steps forward alive and unharmed. The junior officer is relieved, but the senior officer's instincts don't settle. Even after seeing Jia face to face, hearing her speak, and watching her interact with Yong, a quiet uneasiness lingers in his mind. Something about the situation feels manufactured, but he chooses to wait. He knows that people eventually slip, and he is determined to catch that one mistake. Later, after Yong and Jia return home from shopping, Jia walks ahead to get the car while Yong loads the bags. In that brief moment of separation, Chang emerges from behind a pillar and grabs her. Jia freezes, fear and shock flooding her eyes. Chang pulls her close, unable to hide his twisted affection. He whispers how much he has missed her, his voice trembling with obsession rather than love. Jia responds with ice in her tone, reminding him of the truth he keeps pretending doesn't exist. He killed her unborn child and left her on the brink of death. Chang apologizes immediately, desperate, pleading, begging her to come back, insisting that he can change. Before Jia can push him away, Yong's voice echoes from a distance, calling her name. In panic, Chang drags her behind a wall and kisses her forcefully, marking her with a love bite. Jia shoves him back, breathless and furious. As Jia rejoins Yong, he notices the fresh mark on her neck. His face darkens. Believing she has been with Chang, he slaps her twice in anger. Jia stands frozen, humiliated and hurt, while Chang watches from afar, satisfied with the chaos he has ignited. Later, Chang meets Shinran and gives her a new assignment. He orders her to study Yong's personality, weaknesses, and routine and seduce him. His goal is simple: make Yong betray Jia, break Jia's trust completely, and drive her back into Chang's arms. That night, Shinran appears at Yong's doorstep in fake distress, pretending she is being chased by two men. Yong, unaware of the trap, steps outside and helps her hide. Shinran acts fragile and trembles dramatically, begging him not to leave her alone. She grips his arm and asks him to stay by her side. Yong, though cautious, hesitates to reject someone seeking help. Meanwhile, Chang arrives at Yong's house and is greeted by Yong's mother. Jia appears a moment later. She stiffens in shock when she sees Chang inside her home, but she quickly masks her fear behind a polite smile. When Yong's mother enters the kitchen to prepare tea, Chang wastes no time. He corners Jia against the wall and grabs her, suffocating her with both strength and fear. Jia struggles silently, terrified that any noise will bring her mother-in-law running and expose everything. But Chang does not care. His hands move forcefully over her, ignoring her pleas, until Jia finally stops resisting and asks what he wants from her. Chang answers without hesitation, her love, and only her love. Then he drags her out of the house as if she belongs to him. At the motel, Shinran prepares drinks for herself and Yong, pretending to relax. While he isn't looking, she secretly mixes a sedative into his glass. Yong, however, is sharper than she expected. He calmly sends her to get more drinks, and the moment she leaves, he swaps the glasses. When Shinran returns, he pretends to feel dizzy and weak, letting her believe her plan is working perfectly. Around the same time, Chang brings Jia to the very same motel. He tells Jia that her innocent husband is not as pure as she thinks. Jia refuses to believe him, accusing him of lying again. But Chang drags her into a room and reveals the scene he has been waiting to show her: Yong lying on the bed, seemingly asleep beside Shinran. Jia's heart shatters. She storms out of the room in outrage, convinced that Yong betrayed her. Chang follows closely, pouring honeyed lies into her ears. He tells her only he has ever truly loved her, only he has fought for her, and she should come back to him instead of living with a man who cheats. Jia stops, turns sharply, and calls him exactly what he is: a selfish jerk who only thinks about himself and hides his cruelty behind fake devotion. Chang insists he can prove his love and do anything for her, absolutely anything. And that is when Jia sees the perfect opportunity. With slow, calculated calmness, she tells Chang that if he truly loves her, if he really wants her back, then he should hand over his entire company and make her the CEO in his place. Only then will she even consider returning to him. The next morning, Shinran wakes up and realizes she has no clothes on. When Yong enters her room with breakfast, she is confused. She had expected him to be caught by Jia and to have already left. During breakfast, Yong calmly tries to make Shinran understand that she is helping a monster like Chang, who will eventually betray her as well. He even offers her all his money and property, worth millions, if she agrees to leave Chang. Shinran becomes overwhelmed and unsure of what to do. That is when Yong shows her a video of her killing Li Yi's friend, Pu, to blackmail her. At the same time, Li Yi returns home. Her mother-in-law seems to be worried and says she wants to teach Yong a lesson for staying out all night. Right then, Jia packs her luggage and prepares to leave. Chang arrives to pick her up, and without any explanation, Jia leaves the house with him. When they reach Li Yi's mansion, Yong returns home as well. His mother confronts him, angrily questioning what mistake he made that caused Jia to leave the house with another man. She insists that Jia must be brought back. That is when she learns the shocking truth. Yong reveals that the real Jia died months ago, and the woman she recently saw was not Jia at all, it was Li. Li had been pretending to be Jia to deceive Chang and take her revenge. A flashback reveals how Yong once saved Li Yi from Chang's men. He told her that Chang had killed his wife, Jia, and that he also wanted revenge. However, he warned her to follow his plan strictly. He then gave Li Yi his dead wife's face, creating a new identity for her as Jia. Now, Li Yi is close to regaining her position as CEO of her company. Meanwhile, Shinran has secretly joined hands with Yong and is only pretending to remain loyal to Chang as his mistress. That same night, Chang visits Li Yi, believing her to be Jia. He tries to touch her, but when she refuses to let him come near, he becomes furious and forces himself on her. When Jia suddenly stops struggling beneath him, Chang grows confused and dissatisfied. He believes she has changed, because earlier she used to resist him until the very end. The next morning, the senior cop also becomes suspicious. He believes Jia is actually Li Yi with plastic surgery. He visits her office and calls her by her real name. Li Yi calmly denies everything and keeps her act going. Later at a press conference, Chang officially announces Jia as the acting CEO. But when she says Chang will give her 10% of his company shares, he explodes. He refuses to lose control and insists on giving her less. Jia pretends to be distant and difficult, which only drives him crazier. His ego is wounded, and he becomes obsessed with completely conquering her and breaking her pride. Meanwhile, at home, Chang's mother brings a young woman as a potential bride for Chang. Instead of getting jealous, Jia smirks and calls Chang to inform him that his own mother is trying to throw her out. When Chang's mother confronts her, Jia slaps her repeatedly and pretends the mother is the one slapping her. She cries dramatically and accuses Chang of being a mama's boy who can't protect the woman he loves. This enrages Chang. He storms home. His mother tries to stop him, but he turns on her, furious. Unable to hit her, he storms into Jia's room instead, grabs her, and kisses her desperately. Jia tries to push him away, but he's lost control. She slaps him and tells him she can never be his because his evil mother will never accept her. Later that day, Chang's mother calls everyone and announces she will punish Chang publicly for his violent behavior. She laughs and says she will only be his if his mother disappears from their lives. Chang is thrilled but sends Jia away before his mother notices. Then, like the obedient son he has always been, he kneels on the floor while his controlling mother beats him with a wooden stick in front of the young lady she brought for him. But Jia secretly records everything, mocking him from behind her phone. Humiliated, Chang finally snaps and violently pushes his mother away. Meanwhile, Shinran begins seducing Chang's bald bodyguard. She pretends to love him and says she wants to run away with him for a peaceful life. But to do that, she needs a large amount of money. She convinces him to steal the company's seal stamp from Chang's locker and hand it to her. Later, Jia meets Kunta, the board director who was always loyal to Li Yi. When he refuses to believe she is Li Yi, she reveals secrets only the real Li Yi would know. Shocked, Kunta finally accepts the truth. Jia asks him to gather the other directors so they can overthrow Chang together. Meanwhile, Chang is at the hospital taking care of his dramatic, manipulative mother. That's when Shinran arrives, pretending to be terrified. She tells Chang that Baldy stole money from his locker and tried to assault her when she confronted him. She claims he's planning to run away. Foolish Baldy is waiting for Shinran, dreaming about escaping with her. Instead, Chang arrives with several men. Furious, he decides Baldy must die, but he won't dirty his own hands. He hands the knife to Shinran and orders her to kill him. Shinran remembers how Baldy once forced her to kill Pooh. Now it's his turn. Without hesitation, she stabs him. Meanwhile, the police piece together their theory. Yong performed plastic surgery on Li Yi to give her Jia's face, hoping to take revenge on Chang without involving the law. But since the cops believe he used another woman's body to fake Li Yi's death, They try to arrest him. Yong runs before they can catch him. The next morning, Chang arrives at Jia's room with a greedy smile, eagerly coming to claim the reward he believes he deserves, the night she supposedly promised him. But Jia shuts him down immediately. With calm confidence, she reminds him that she only agreed to sleep with him after their marriage, not before. Her tone is firm, and her refusal bruises his ego, leaving him frustrated and restless. Later that day, the police summon Chang to identify a body recovered from a remote area. They believe it might be Li Yi. Chang walks in with confidence, expecting closure. But when the sheet is pulled back, his eyes widen in shock. The corpse resembles Li Yi, yet it isn't her. Confusion rattles him. Doubt creeps in. His mind spirals toward a chilling possibility. What if Li Yi somehow swapped faces with Jia? The idea seems insane, but nothing about Jia's recent behavior feels normal to him. Still, he lacks any proof. Driven by paranoia, he rushes to confront Jia. He interrogates her with questions that only the real Jia, and no one else, should know. Jia responds flawlessly, without hesitation. She had anticipated this moment and prepared every detail. But Chang's distrust runs deep. He drags her to a DJ bar and demands she perform exactly as the real Jia once did. Jia smiles with confidence, steps onto the stage, and performs effortlessly, perfectly capturing every move the old Jia was known for. The crowd cheers, and Chang's doubt begins to fade. Yet one suspicion remains like a thorn under his skin. What if she is actually Li Yi? To erase that thought, he checks her body for scars that belonged only to Li Yi. But Yong had already removed every mark during the surgery, leaving Jia's skin flawless. Finally, Chang relaxes. He convinces himself she is definitely his real wife, completely unaware that Li Yi has already become the perfect replica. Feeling convinced, Chang loudly announces he will marry Jia even if it means going against his mother. But Jia mocks him again, calling him a pet dog who can't stand up to anyone. The next morning, Shinran meets Jia and speaks to her as the real Li Yi. Curious, she asks who the dead woman with Li Yi's face was. Jia refuses to answer because she doesn't fully trust her. Shinran insists she is innocent and only followed Chang's orders when she killed Pu. Hearing this, Jia becomes furious. When Chang asks his mother for permission to marry Jia, she explodes. She declares he will only marry the woman she chooses. When she orders him around again, Chang finally snaps. Years of humiliation erupt at once. He strangles his own mother. A young lady witnesses it and panics, but Chang quietly approaches her, breaks her neck, and finishes her with a metal object. Later, Jia returns home and finds Chang's mother dead on the sofa. Chang laughs wickedly. Soon after, Jia marries him and prepares to sleep with him. But when he kisses her, he suddenly begins hallucinating. He sees Li Yi, his dead mother, and even Yong with Jia. He loses control, unaware Jia has been using a special perfume laced with a drug to drive him insane. The next morning, Chang visits a doctor and learns he has been consuming something that increases aggression and impulsiveness. Furious, he storms into the company and accuses Jia of drugging him. Jia calmly says it's just a normal couple's perfume. When she asks him to leave because she's busy, he loses his temper and removes her from the CEO position. But Jia smirks and calls Shinran. Shinran informs Chang he no longer has the authority to touch the CEO because Jia now owns more shares. Then Kunta arrives, laughing, and reveals he transferred all his shares to Jia, making her the largest shareholder with absolute control. Chang is shocked she has stolen both his trust and his company. Still, he clings to the fact that he is her husband. When Jia gives him divorce papers, he tears them. That evening, Chang kidnaps Jia and drags her to an abandoned place. Jia warns him the police are watching him, but he doesn't care anymore. He plans to kill her and reclaim her shares. He also reveals he knows Jia is actually Li Yi in disguise. But she doesn't care, it's too late for him anyway. When he tries to strangle her, she says all her property will be donated even if she dies. Before he can kill her, Yong arrives enraged and ties Chang up. He begins cutting him slowly, but Chang only laughs. Yong wants to kill him, but Li stops him and asks him to free her. Yong releases her and gives her the knife. She approaches Chang to kill him but stops halfway. She wants him imprisoned so he can suffer legally. Yong becomes furious and attacks Chang again. At that moment, a flashback reveals how Yong once tried to kiss Li Yi because she had his wife's face. She pushed him away, knowing he was only projecting his emotions. Remembering this, Li Yi threatens to destroy his wife's face if he doesn't stop. Just then, police arrive and arrest Yong for orchestrating the crimes. But before they can capture Chang, he frees himself and runs, only to be run over by Shinran's car.